Will you play the
is this good?
Souls remake,
This is me reclaiming my title for the world's largest and tallest elephant toothpaste experiment. And this is a totally different kind of reaction we discovered in all our experimentation called Devil's Toothpaste, which is insanely reactive and super dangerous. I'll explain why in a minute, but for now, here's a hint. And if you look closely in both shots, I'm not holding the trigger. This kid is.
That's a cool house.
In fact, that kid was the whole reason we were there at all, because this was a culmination of 8 months of planning to throw him the most epic birthday party ever. And all of this started inadvertently from a single surprise phone call. What's up, Fletcher?
Oh my god.
Is this I'm not saying anything.
What's going on, buddy?
What?
How are things, man?
They
Does
just
it make
got
a wish?
better?
This is Fletcher. And this is also Fletcher a year before this call, but unbeknownst to everyone at the time, also pictured here under all that amazing hair was a fast-growing brain tumor. They eventually realized something was wrong and discovered it was a dangerous form of brain cancer so rare he was only the 6th kid ever known to have had it. So his family uprooted their lives for a year and moved almost 1,000 miles to be closer to St. Jude, where they removed the tumor and would try and fix his brain. In fact, our call was the night before he was going back in for another brutal week of chemo. He's such a funny kid, and I was so inspired by his hopeful attitude that after talking for an hour, I secretly vowed that if he made it to 13 years old, I would fly him and his family out and surprise him with just the dopest birthday party ever. And not long after, I texted Fletcher this picture. So he knew we had closely matching hairstyles, but what he didn't know is that plans were already underway for him and I to take back the record for the world's largest elephant toothpaste. And as a quick refresher, last summer, my buddy Science Bob and I set the world record for elephant toothpaste by filling up an empty swimming pool. I wanted to be able to swim in the foam afterwards, so we figured out how to use yeast as the catalyst, which is in fact safer, but it doesn't react very fast. And our video seemed to inspire some folks, because 2 months later, this happened in David Dobrik's backyard, where they didn't bother with the yeast and just took the normal reaction and scaled it up a bunch. But then a few weeks later, these guys in Brazil did the largest experiment yet, and they are the current Guinness World Record holders. And so even though Fletcher's birthday was still 8 months out, we started our testing right away, because I knew blasting a world record amount of foam straight up into the sky wasn't as easy as it might sound. And the part that concerned me the most was picking the right nozzle size. And here's what I mean. These 3 containers are identical except for the diameter.
Should I leave the record? Don't you have to just buy one more tail?
If the diameter is too large, it looks kind of cool, but it doesn't really go that high. Too small, and it will go high, but it just looks like confetti and doesn't look that impressive. But for every container, there is a Goldilocks size diameter opening that gives you that cool laminar looking flow while still going pretty high. And you might think, well, why don't you just take a typical flask that works so well and just scale all the dimensions up? And we tried that on our first 5-foot scale test. And just as I feared, it went all confetti on us. And the problem is illustrated here.
That's pretty cool,
if you
though.
scale up and double all the dimensions of the block, you get this. It's perfect. All these dimensions increased exactly by a factor of 2. But wait a sec. The volume increased by a factor of 8. This is called the squared cube law, and its effects are everywhere in nature, such as putting a hard limit on just how big land animals can be, because how heavy you are is a function of your volume, but the strength of your muscles and bones is a function of their cross-sectional area. So since animals evolved to get heavier by the power of 3, but stronger by only the power of 2, at some point, it's just too much. So on the next 5-foot test, we increased the top diameter.
Wait, that makes sense.
3.5 inches.
I'm learning things that I did.
It swung too far the other way because while the column looked smooth, it didn't really go that high. And so finally for the 3rd test, we let the pendulum swing back just a tad and shave down that diameter by just over an inch to try and dial in that Goldilocks outlet.
Guys, is this why they have the cars at Walmart?
Size. And sure enough, the column went really high and looked great. But this test uncovered another issue. With such a high volume of foam, the pressure was creating some really high forces in the flask. I mean, that's a lot of damage.
Oh, just forget it.
Quite frankly, left us with only one option. And so with the power of flex tape, we scaled things up even further to a 10-foot test and did our
Wait,
best
they
to
automatically bought
interpolate
it.
that Goldilocks outlet size. So once again, the outlet size worked great, but our joint construction wasn't prepared for the further scaled up forces. In fact, score a fat W for the flex tape, where you can see it single-handedly held
Why not
the
just
thing
ask
together,
3M
even
to
as
get
the
fucking
screws
bulletproof
and
glass?
wood busted through. And we were realizing we just had to make the structure so over-engineered and indestructible, so the only option for the foam to escape the high pressure would be going out the top. And so while that wasn't a perfect result, I felt like we'd learned enough from all of our failures to design it strong enough for the final 20-foot
expensive.
world record version.
Oh,
In
like
the
he
end,
cares.
We ran over 150 tests, not only to determine the right scaled up flask dimensions, but things like, does neck length have an effect? What happens if you vary the soap amounts? What effect do different brands of food coloring have? All of these tests were really insightful, but perhaps the most interesting finding was stumbling upon something I've affectionately named Devil's
This is interesting though. I kind of like this a lot. This is a good video.
Devil's toothpaste? That seems a bit extreme, Mark, but allow me to demonstrate. This is a shoebox full of the standard formula of hydrogen peroxide, sodium iodide, and soap that pretty much everyone uses to make elephant toothpaste. Now here's the same volume of reactants, only this time using Devil's toothpaste. Now see if you can spot the difference in real time.
Damn, dude. I kind of want to buy some of that now, dude.
Not only
Looks
is it
kind of fun.
hyper-reactive, but the reaction is much hotter, so you get these really cool bubble formations. Here's one more. Once again, this is normal elephant's toothpaste in an Erlenmeyer flask. No big deal, people have been doing this for years. But once again, here's the same volume of reactants, now only with Devil's toothpaste.
Holy shit, dude!
And given how explosive this is, this may be irresponsible of me, but while we watch the replay, I'll tell you exactly how to make it. You start with 2016. Once that mixes, you're gonna Oprah Winfrey.
Bitch, I'm trying to listen to this shit.
And you're good to go. And so by taking some rigorous safety precautions, we also intended to set the first and therefore only world record for the world's largest Devil's toothpaste experiment by filling 6 55-gallon drums with 400 times the amount that broke the flask here.
Oh, I don't know about the biggest record, dude.
And so after
and is one of the other guys if I can steal his shit.
Feeling much more confident about our build plans and chemistry, we packed everything up and made our way to the small farming town of Gridley, California. We
Hey, take that, David Dobrik. He's clever.
Graciously agreed to let us use his land, which is full of hundreds of acres of walnut trees.
No, it's not? Okay.
No, don't even think about it, fat Gus. He also had a great backyard we could make use of. And so with only 4 days left till Fletcher was flying out for the party, we got to work on a 20-second build montage.
Oh! If they build it underground, it can explode, right? Because it's... Oh, no,
And it took
is that not what they're doing?
14-hour back-breaking days of labor in the
forget
hot sun.
it.
Because with so much time to plan the most epic birthday party ever, I just kept adding more and more ideas to the list we would need to pull off. So in addition to building the indestructible 20-foot flask and the Devil's toothpaste dumping mechanism, we also needed to make a methane bubble fountain, a 3D bubble printer, a fire tornado, a slip and slide into a pool, and an epic bubble pit. And even though I brought my buddies, it was cool to see us turn into a modern-day small-town USA barn raising. If we needed extra hands or a piece of equipment, 10 neighbors were there like instantly to help us out. And so the morning of the big day, there was still a lot of last-minute scrambling, but things were looking pretty good.
I'm seriously so nervous right now. I love pranks, and a surprise is like the most wholesome type of prank. So I haven't been able to sleep for days just thinking about this, like every last detail to how this will go down.
And so with only 1 hour left, we did one final test run on everything. First, the Devil's toothpaste.
A perfecto!
And then the 20-foot flask. For the real reaction, the peroxide would fill the whole bottom pool where John was standing, and then the troughs would dump over all the catalyst at once, sort of like this. And I should mention, Guinness
that did not look synchronized at all.
Record category per event. So we were going for the tallest, but when we did the math to scale up the flask to the arbitrary height I picked of 20 feet, and this is a true story, it was exactly 1 gallon less than the folks in Brazil who set the world record for the largest. And so don't mind me while I set these 2-gallon containers right here. And so as people started gathering for the surprise, I hit the hardened streets of Gridley, California, to look for some kind of last-minute disguise.
What kind of car is that?
And so after a bit of a warm-up, because these are all moves I can for sure do, and that's definitely me in the costume, the moment I had spent the last 8 months planning for had finally arrived.
Model Y?
And the cover story for the kids is they were coming to tour a walnut farm of a distant relative. And to provide a good juxtaposition, I wanted him to feel as awkward as possible for this part. And then when we gathered for the picture, I snuck up right behind him and took off my mask.
All right, cool. What do you guys want to do next? What should we do?
Oh, that's cute.
His sister Isla also had no idea any of this was going to happen.
What up, buddy? How are you? Get in here. I'm the boy.
Well, chat, I think it's a little pressure, dude. Cause what if you're like not as funny or cool as you are in your videos, dude? And he's like, dude, I came up all the way here and this guy's kind of fucking boring, dude. This guy's not even as funny as my dad. I could just stayed home, dude. What if that happens?
What's up, dude? When I'm not making videos, I'm the Gridley mascot.
Mascot?
Yeah, like me.
To really stretch out the surprise, I wanted him to think I was only there to drop in and say hi. So I had Dale suggest that I take the kids for a ride in his dune buggy. To which I reluctantly agreed because, you know, I'm a busy guy.
I could do it. Like 15 minutes. You guys want to go for a razor ride? Is that cool?
Well, in all fairness, most of the jokes that I crack are from chat. I just steal them.
Hour, so it's good to meet you in real life.
Yeah.
Don't tell Mom! Not a word, okay.
Yeah, right. Thanks for the definition.
Oh, a single walnut grows in one of these, which is crazy to me. All of those are just a single walnut.
A walnut. Wait, what's a walnut?
As we pulled up the driveway, I stopped the dune buggy in a precisely predetermined location where the view of the 20-foot glass was obscured by the truck.
I heard it was your birthday, so I got you something simple.
Well, tomorrow's my real birthday.
Oh yeah, tomorrow. I'm one day off.
Oh, it's in French. It's how do you say in French?
So Fletch, I gotta
It's a completely different thing.
You and I today are gonna set a Guinness World Record.
What is it?
The world's tallest elephant
No, it's not.
toothpaste.
Wait, what? Are you kidding me?
You are currently in a YouTube video. I want you to wave to your 20 million of your newest friends.
Hello.
I think it's, isn't it in what,
All the
Grenoble?
elephant toothpaste in the, and just blast it in the air.
Yeah, I got 15 minutes.
I actually fully cleared my schedule.
Oh my god.
With the surprise fully and successfully executed, my heart rate finally lowered a bit, and I gave them a preview of all the cool stuff we had lined up for the party. Then we headed to the backyard where he saw the setup and his mom.
You are devious.
Because at this point it had sunk in there would be no Walnut Farm tour, and that her and I had been conspiring for months. For now though, it was time to party.
That's cool. Alright, chat, you're gonna get banned. I see some of you on chat, dude. You guys are gonna get tapped. Looking weirdos. Okay. I'm gonna skip ahead a little bit. Well, I want to see the actual thing. Okay,
Before we busted out the
chat's
flaming
starting to
bubbles
fucking
or the
chaos. I
bubble
can't even read
we
it.
headed across the street to check out the world's first and therefore largest devil's toothpaste experiment.
Chat, is that his house? Jeez. That was kind of dangerous.
Science Bob came over and hooked us up with the slow-mo shot.
That's pretty cool. Okay, stop saying pollution and shit. Guys, is this polluting? Doesn't this like dissolve or some shit? Yeah, I don't think it's that bad.
This shot was from a GoPro on rails, and we weren't quite fast enough with the pull. And for some reason I found this like Wall-E level pathetically sad. You can see even in slow-mo, the reaction happens so incredibly fast.
Why is there sad music?
And I apologize for the gratuitous amount of slow-mo, but this has got to be the coolest thing I've ever filmed.
It is pretty cool. What song is this? Dun, dun. I feel like I've heard this melody
And
before.
afterwards, it kept oozing this rainbow Play-Doh extrusion.
I'm gonna react harder. Holy shit! Oh my god, look at all the foam and shit! Wow, that's pollution! Okay, what about the main event?
Being filled, Fletcher asked to take a very quick.
You guys don't wanna, you know?
He's never been in one.
I know.
This side.
This one.
Okay.
This is in like every video.
I'm handing this to you officially. To think, you should have been touring a walnut farm right now.
And so after 8 months of planning and so much work by so many people, the coolest birthday present I've ever given anybody came down to this moment.
Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
That's it? Oh, did it break? Oh, it broke.
It worked! It went from the bottom.
Yeah! Came out the bottom and lifted it up! Look at my truck! Let's go!
Oh my god!
Hey, what'd you guys think?
That was so cool.
Wait! Wait a minute!
Look at the truck, it's like buried next to
So my idea would have worked if they built it underground. Because of the pressure from like the dirt and shit, the wood and the structure they have nowhere to go.
And I'd just like to point out how great that flowing column looks.
Oh, thanks,
They perfectly selected output
Thursday.
diameter. That is,
F
until things got
dice.
chaotic once the pressure changed drastically from the big rupture.
Interesting.
We literally made a rocket ship. I mean, fundamentally, this is how rockets propel themselves. And the actual failure mode wasn't really a floor strength issue as much as it was a stiffness issue. I knew our structure weighed over a ton, so I just didn't consider that the reaction could lift the whole thing 5 feet into the freaking air. And at NASA, that's what we refer to as a critical oversight. But honestly, this result was way more spectacular, plus it leaves room for improvement. And I should also note, even with all that, we still crushed the
What is
previous
this?
world record by more than double. And so as the sun went down, Science Bob lit up the fire tornado as a fitting end to the party.
That's cool.
21
I also told Fletcher there was one more
Also
thing,
maybe
which is that with a little help
drink
from
some water,
Dale,
Mr.
he could use some
Cow.
heavy
It is good
equipment
for your
to
health.
destroy our beautiful creation.
Always enjoy the stream.
Chat, you guys
so
not
with that,
gonna
the
believe this,
party
chat,
is
but I have my license to drive these fucking trucks. But I don't want to drive real cars because I don't have a license. But
As they drove away, I thought about
I'm allowed to drive
everything
those.
they've been through for the past year and all the
Will we
people that
see
came
IRL
together
City
from all
streams
across the
next
I'm not kidding.
country to donate their time and energy for a kid they've never even met. And I might not vote the exact same as all of them, but for like 5 inspiring days, none of that stuff mattered. Whenever I find myself short on hope, I find it helps
Could
to
I
put
get
my
a welcome
phone
to the
down and
jungle?
choose to see the
Pause
good
chat.
parts in my fellow humans and be one of the good parts for my fellow humans to see. And so to Fletcher, thank you for being such a good example of
Pause.
holding on to hope amidst really lame circumstances.
True.
Happy birthday, buddy, and congrats on your new world record. In the end, we used a chemical reaction to basically make a rocket ship. Now, if you want the same experience
For the
only
job,
without
yeah,
the 8 months of prep work,
okay,
you're
that was
welcome.
really good though. That was Pog. Good video, dude. Okay, chat. I watched one last thing to chat, and then we're gonna go.